Good morning, y'all. Taylor here with y'all 106.7. We have a very special guest today, Grammy award-winning singer, songwriter, producer, Mr. Don Henry. Welcome to y'all.
Thanks, Taylor.
We are so excited to have you here.
I'm not as excited as I am. Seriously, this is really nice to be able to come out here. When my friend Debbie, who set this all up, said, Debbie Z, she said, hey, you're not going to believe this. Y'all 106.7 is on our team. I went, oh my God. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, your track record is so impressive, and we play a ton of songs like we were just talking about from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s that you had your hand in being a part of. So I'm just really excited to talk to you today.
Well, thank you.
Now, I just want for our listeners to know your songs have been recorded by Ray Charles, Blake Shelton, Patti Page, Miranda Lambert, Conway Twitty, T.G. Sheppard, Kathy Mattea, and many, many more.
Oh, yeah. It's so much fun to be around Nashville during its kind of a little bit of its brill building heyday, to make a comparison to New York. You know, it was very exciting, and it still is, and just different.
Mm-hmm. Now, when did you come to Music City?
79.
Okay.
Yeah, way before you were born, I'm sure, Taylor.
And how did you, what led you here?
Well, my dad was a musician and had played with a lot of people that were Nashville songwriters or musicians through the years. He was good friends with Pete Drake, the steel guitar player. And but we lived in California, and my dad played a lot of clubs and stuff in Reno and Vegas and Tahoe and all that too. And when I got to, I was about 12 or 13, I was writing poetry and all that, and which I really loved to do. But I never could play the guitar like he could. He could play anything you put in front of him. And I started writing songs, and he said, your mom says you've been writing songs. I was about 12 or 13, and he said, play me a couple. I played him a couple, and he said, people do that for a living. I said, really? And he goes, if that's something you want to do, I can make that happen for you. But here's the deal. When you come home from football practice, you got to close the door, get in your room for an hour every day. And I'm undisciplined at everything except that one thing. I took him at his word, and boy, when it was time, when I graduated, I'd saved enough money working at a music store. I said, let's go, and he hauled me out here, and I was lucky because the first night I was here, dig this, I got to go to Pete Drake's studio at about midnight. Pete said, yeah, come on by. Marshall Chapman was there, Pam Rose, Mary Ann Kennedy were there, which have all become great friends of mine since then, and Willie Nelson, and they were all just... There was funny smoke in the air, and they were singing songs and just hanging out. And I was 19 and I thought to myself, well, if nothing happens for me, if this is it, I'm at the right place. I just want to be here, and I have never left.
Wow, what a story, too.
Yeah, I was very lucky, thanks to my old man.
Well, thanks, Dad.
Yeah, no kidding. Best dad ever.
Well, speaking of your success, Kathy Mattea, you won CMA, ACM, NSAI, and a Grammy. And it was like the first song to win all 4 awards for Song of the Year.
Yeah, we didn't even realize that till a couple of years later. It was like, you know what? I don't think anyone's ever done that. I went, that's pretty weird. I didn't know that. So, yeah.
You were the trailblazer. Was that in the Ken Burns documentary?
Yes, it was. There's a really great piece on that. When he found out about that song, he stumbled upon it not knowing it well, and it really got to him. And my friend John Vesner, who I wrote the song with, John became good friends with Ken, and they talked about this a lot. And Ken just really wanted to make a little spotlight in that documentary for that song because he thought that really meant something. It showed the progress of storytelling in country music, and I feel really great to be part of that because for a lot of reasons I dig Ken Burns, but also I never thought of myself as a pure country songwriter. It's hard to write really great country songs. I thought that song had a little bit of a poppy folk flair to it, but to be included in a country music documentary with that song, I just felt as honored as anything that song accomplished. That was really neat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of talking about that country music because, from our station, we played the 80s and the 90s, and it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And Conway Twitty's my favorite. I just have to say shout out.
Oh, my God. He cut one of my songs called Jenny's Souvenirs that I had written when I was like 22 or something, and I wrote it with my friend Billy Simon, and man, we wrote it, I'm thinking, this is going to be Don Williams' next big hit. I just knew it, and I pitched it on every tape I could put it on, and finally one day his producer, Garth Fundis, came up to me and said, Don, please don't put your song on any more tapes. Don's not going to record your song. And it was really funny. No, I love Garth for saying that, because he knew I was a kid just trying to make something happen. And of course, Garth and I, great friends since then. But I remember thinking, well, that's that. And then a couple of years later, Conway cut it. And I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. I'll take that. He was one of my all-time favorites, and a sweetheart, too.
Mm-hmm. So great.
Vince Gill, by the way, is the background singer on that track. It's
way.
An album cut. I forget the name of the album, but it's before Vince was famous. Well, he was famous with Pure Prairie League, but not country famous yet. And I knew him. We used to play basketball together and stuff. So to get a cut by Conway with a young Vince Gill singing the harmony on it, I'm in heaven.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, I do want to talk about your music
a
little bit, your original music, specifically your Falloween album, because we have a lot to shout out. Get a shot of the shirt there. Now, how did this idea come about? Because it is so unique. Like, there's nothing else out there like it.
Well,
what made you want to cut an album like that?
Okay, this is honest to goodness. COVID. There was nothing else to do. I'm at home. I usually tour a lot. So I'm at home thinking, well, what am I going to do? Well, I kept thinking it'd be nice to put together a little album, an autumn/Halloween record. And I had a bunch of songs I'd collected through the years. And I thought, okay, I'll do it. So I put together a record, made this record. And before I knew it, I had a whole thing. My friend Mike Moran, who's a children's book illustrator up in New Jersey, he caught wind of it and said, hey, let me design the album cover and do all that stuff. So before I knew it, I had an album. And celebrating the season, which, as far as I can remember, being a kid, way cooler for me than Christmas or anything. I just loved it. And I started early, and the older I get, the earlier I start. I think I start like around July 5th now. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it just became, when I got done with it, I thought, well, I guess I got a record. I don't know if there's a market for this or not. A few people, when it first came out, it sold out enough to where I broke even making the record. And I thought, well, that's a good sign. And then through the last few years, I was out playing a few shows up in New Jersey, Philly, and some other areas. And we get a few people coming out to these private little house concerts, and they're really digging it. So my friend Debbie Zavison, she said, we need to make this into a yearly event here in Nashville. And I said, well, that would be cool, because I really get to play with a band. Mm-hmm. When I play in Nashville, it's writers' nights and stuff. And she said, let's go for it, man. Let's make it a real big deal. I said, okay. So she did everything. I mean, I'm too busy working on the road to do something like that. And she put this all together, got sponsorships. And this year, getting you all on has been so exciting, because the first song on the album is called It's Fall.
I know. You wrote that for us, and before you even knew we existed.
Yes,
you knew
that's it. That's it. But she was the one that kind of championed this thing. And now it's become a thing where there's a little buzz going on, and everyone's excited to come out and dress up in their costumes. And I hope to keep it going. I'm an older guy now, and this is the kind of a thing an older guy I think can pull off, you know. So I'm excited. It's my favorite time of the year, and I've enjoyed seeing how we can turn it into something that everyone can enjoy every year.
Oh, we can't wait to be there. October 7th at the Vinyl Lounge. Don Henry's Falloween, Fallies, and Harvest Ball. You can visit y'all1067.com for more information. But we are going to be there. Like you said, there's a costume contest. There's cash prizes. There's live music. You're going to be playing the album.
Oh, yeah.
So me and Ron were just talking about what our costumes are going to be. So I don't know yet. But, like, how you need to tell us. Is it, like, scary? Is it, like, is it all across the board? Like, what kind of costume should we strive for?
Well, it's all across the board. To just give you an example, there were some people dressed up in zombies and everything, but the person who won the costume contest, Mary Poppins.
Wow.
And I distinctly remember being on the stage, I'm playing a song, and I see silhouette, and I'm going, that woman looks just like Mary Poppins. And sure enough, at the end of the evening, she ended up winning the contest, which was very, very exciting. So, and plus, it was really cool because a lot of my friends brought their kids out.
Okay, so it's family friendly.
Yeah,
okay.
It is. Oh, it's very, because we do like Monster Mash. Last year we did Ghostbusters, but we're changing it up, doing a few other, like Werewolves of London and things like that nature. So, and then of course the whole album. But the whole album, the scariest part in the album, a lot of the kids that I know, it's their favorite song. Mm-hmm. So that's just to give you an idea that it's pretty family friendly. And that's what we want it to be. We want it to grow into something that everyone can come out to and eventually maybe do something outdoors with it,
Yeah. Now, your friend, the illustrator, he's going to be doing something there too, right?
man.
He's going to do live illustrations.
Yeah, this is what makes it different. We're doing this show, and I know it's just one of many that are done throughout the country, but this is special because Mike Moran, he sits with his tablet, or I guess iPad they call him. Such an old guy. And he sits there and he draws in real time on this huge LED screen we have behind the drummer. I mean, like 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
He draws the songs in real time. So they start to come to life as we're singing the song. And they're funny and they're beautiful, and he's just brilliant. And to me, that's what sets it apart and makes it interesting enough to keep your eyes on it, even if you're going, well, the songs are okay, but sure do love these drawings, that kind of a thing. And so it's really, to me, that's the thing that made me want to do this. When Mike and I talked about this, I said, I don't mind doing this show, but if we could do it as a joint venture where you do something like that, it'll make it interesting, different, family-friendly, and it won't be just the same old thing. And to me, that's the heart of the show.
We're so excited.
Yeah,
Do you know what your
really
costume's going to be? You can't tell us?
I don't know. No, well, yeah, I'll tell you something. I'm the taskmaster. I'm the ringmaster. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, we can't wait.
I've got Kim Parent and Vicky Carrico singing background vocals, and they're going to be some witches or something. And they're the finest singers singing like witches, and you're going to love that.
Now, this benefits Music Health Alliance, right?
Yeah, that's really another thing about this. I can't tell you how much throughout my career in the last 15 years that they have helped me out with that. And it was a short time when we had to be on Obamacare for a couple of years, and they helped get, that website was so hard to deal with, and they helped me that. And of course, I'm off since then, but it was nice that they were there to help me show me the ropes to that. Mm-hmm. And anytime that we have any problems with any kind of pharmaceuticals or anything of that nature, you can talk to them, and they can help you find a way to get it cheaper, quicker, whatever like that. Because they specialize in that. And let's face it, people that do what I do, they're just brainless about stuff like that. And to have somebody that understands artists and understands the system, they know, and bring them together and make it possible for us to get the health care we need, and in terms of, and in crisis as well. But just every day, if it's just something that you need to talk to them, you can call them, and they're there to help. I can't thank them enough, and they continue to help me to this day. So anytime I can, I do some benefits for this. In fact, my friend John Vesner, who I wrote Where Have You Been with, he started this thing with the dueling duos that we do at the City Winery. We've done them with the Sweethearts of the Rodeo, Foster and Lloyd, and other people, and that money all goes as well to the Music Health Alliance.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It makes the event even that much more special.
It does.
It's for your album, but it's also for a good cause, and you're with your friends and family.
Absolutely. And Lord knows everybody there uses them. And so anything we can to keep them going, keep them on their feet, we'll continue to do that.
Awesome. Tickets are still available. Like we said, visit y'all1067.com for more information. We are so excited.
Oh, man, me too. I'm glad you guys are on board. When Debbie told me, I almost fainted. I said, are you kidding? And then she told me that we also have Buffalo Wild Wings on board, which I thought, are you kidding me again? She goes, no, but this is Debbie. She just goes out and says, it doesn't hurt to talk to people.
We love Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. She's
so wonderful. And one of the things that I do want to mention, I'm going to pull it up on my phone here real quick, is that the person that is Meredith Mazanek, who got us connected with Buffalo Wild Wings. And I want to really thank her for that. Because they're going to cater it for the musicians and stuff, and they're going to have a little meet and greet before the show that some people can do that'll be catered as well as sponsoring with some real cash as well. So I can't believe how far we've come just in 1 year. And we had some cool sponsors last year, a lot of private ones. And this year we're getting a little bit of a Rolling Stone going, and we're gathering some awesome moss.
Getting bigger and bigger every year.
Awesome moss. Let me write that down for my next song. Awesome moss.
The life of a creator. He's like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. It's going to get bigger and bigger every year, and you're not slowing down anytime soon. You are a busy man. You love to work, don't you?
Unless you know something I don't know, but right now, the doc says I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I'm 64. I turned 64, and I will be 65 in December. And I don't think about it too much until I wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, who's that guy? But
who's that sexy man in the mirror? It's me.
No, but I'll tell you what, I feel the same as I did when I was 20 years old. I love getting up and playing in front of people. It's the one place I feel the most at home, other than writing songs. And so to be able to do a band gig in my favorite town, my favorite time of the season, with songs that I've written and a few old standards, if I could do that all year, that's all I'd do.
Is that what you kind of constantly do? Is just like jot down ideas when they strike, and then you write them when you can get to them?
I've got a whole list of ideas here, and I use them from time to time. Like if something musically hits me, and I'll tell you where I write mostly, because I don't have a lot of time at home these days. I'm always on the phone doing whatever, emails or whatever. I find myself writing a lot on airplanes, in cars, in the shower, everywhere in the crevices of the day. So if I come up with some kind of melodic idea, I'll look through my phone and go, oh, here's a good idea that I wrote down 2 years ago, and I'll stick them together and see if something happens. That's how I write a lot of my songs these days. And I get inspired to tap into the youth. I get inspired by all the little shorts on YouTube and TikTok and all that, and listen, I go, oh, that's a clever idea. That's witty. But I'm always looking at art to create art. Art shows, movies, books, everything, and of course conversation with just normal people. And I say that because I don't think I have any normal friends.
Yeah.
All my friends are musicians or songwriters. So when I'm around family and people that aren't tapped into that, I love to listen to where they talk, especially down the South, because everyone in the South talks with the colloquialisms that are so beautiful. And I just go, oh, that's a good idea for a song. And that's where I get a lot of stuff, too, from.
Spoken like a true artist. Loretta Lynn said, if you don't live your life, you won't have anything to write about.
Man, she was my favorite. When Old Man's Daughter came out in the 70s, wow, my favorite movie still.
So great.
Yeah.
Now, with all your success, when you look back on your career, a question I always like to ask is, if you had to give advice to your younger self, maybe at 19 when you were moving to Nashville, or to someone who is moving to Nashville today to pursue their music, what would you say? What advice would you give?
Well, it's different. It's changed now. The advice back then, I would never have said go to music school and learn how to learn theory and all that, because you're not going to need that. You know, you just need to go ahead and start. And I started immediately. I didn't go to college. I came here and hit the streets. But now it's a different job than it was then. And it was a wide swath of middle-class songwriters signed to all the publishing companies. Well, those jobs are gone now. So you have to find a way to multitask and to diversify and be good at a lot of things. And one of those great advantages would be go to school and learn musical theory, because then you can score films and stuff, and you can learn and go to school to also learn how to be an engineer and how to use, Pro Tools and all that stuff. That's what I'd say to a kid now. But the kid back then, I actually did the right thing that was available to me at the time. The advantage I had with my father bringing me in, and the fact that there was no really school to go to, In fact, even now when I teach workshops for people, we didn't even have those when I was a kid. I would have joined all those workshop things. That would have been fun. But there was nothing like that, so you had to kind of learn on the fly. So I hung out with I hung out with Harlan Howard. I hung out with Sonny Throckmorton, Bobby Braddock, and I absorbed their songs through osmosis, and I learned that way. So it's a different advice for each generation because it's changed so much. So that would be my advice to the young people. But to the guy, the one you were talking about, that kid, you did the right thing. You stuck it out. You just kept working it. And the other thing that we have in common, the old era and the new era, is this whole thing about giving yourself 3 years or 5 years. That's not going to work. It's you're in or you're out. It's that simple. If you start doing that, you're putting time limits on something, and you never know when that break is going to happen. Before or after that, I'd say you say, okay, I'll go take a part-time job somewhere else, but I am in this for the long haul, and I'm going to stay here. I'm going to keep doing it, and in the meantime, I'll go work at KFC or whatever. Which, by the way, was my first gig when I moved to Nashville.
Wow!
Oh, it was so fun.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's actually something we've never heard before, like taking it, from a new, like back then to now, because it is different.
It's
and I do
different.
love what you said of, you got to be in it. Like it's not 3 years, it's not 2 years, it's a lifetime.
You got to make it a career, and as soon as you're starting to play it that way, even if you do hit it in 2 or 3 years' time before your 5 years is up, you kind of probably doing it for the wrong reasons. I mean, I'm not saying money's the wrong reason. I'm just saying that if you're only doing it for that reason, you probably won't have a career. Everybody I know that's still doing this at this age or beyond, that didn't enter into the equation. They just said, I'm sticking with this, and we're going to ride it out, and we'll see what happens. And that's what I'm doing.
You're still that kid on the inside. I can feel your excitement and your passion for the craft.
Well, thank you very much.
And I think that really has a lot to do with it, that you genuinely love what you do.
Thanks, Taylor. I appreciate that. I'm glad that still shows, because sometimes I wake up in the morning and go, what am I doing?
No, but I feel that excitement.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're going to play for us today. What are you going to play?
Absolutely. I don't know. I'll play something probably off the Falloween album. Maybe I'll play a little of that Fall Y'all, because,
it's
after all.
Fall, y'all.
Yeah, I've even worked up a little intro for your station. And, it's there. What was I going to do? I'm a songwriter, and I'm going to take advantage of that. But I might play there's a couple of things. There's one that Kathy Mattea sings on that maybe I'll play a little of that. And I don't know. Maybe a couple of spooky ones. I don't know. Whatever we have time for.
Oh, we can't wait. All right. We're going to get reset for that, and we'll dive in.